Okay, I know they lost tonight, but listen up. I've figured out how the Leafs can win the cup. What? How? Are you listening? You're ready? Yes, as ready as I'll ever be. For those about to rock! What? You weren't listening. Let's go! Ladies and gentlemen, it's a little ridiculous. Good boy. Play all the hits. Left Toronto Maple Leafs. Let me finish. How am I supposed to go to bed after watching that? I'm quite hyped. With you wherever you are, welcome to LFR. Leafs lose 4-3 in overtime to the Columbus Blue Jackets. As my good friend Andrew Berkshire pointed out over text message, the Leafs just lost in back-to-back nights to the last two teams to eliminate them in the playoffs. Oh, what's better than friends? Now, this loss wasn't good. It's never good to lose. I think you can definitely file this under you're not going to win every game, but still some pretty glaring problems that crop up again and again. Let's talk about it. What are some notes for this game? Jake Muzzin, obviously out of the lineup. It sounds like he's going to be out for quite a while. I'd be surprised if he's back before the playoffs. Reinforcements are on the way. Ilya Lyubushkin making his Toronto Maple Leafs debut. And being a lineup regular, they had Justin Holl play his offside. At least that's kind of what I thought they were going to do. Nope, he wasn't even in the lineup. Which, to me, like, if we already know Kyle Dubas is on the phone, like, we're done here, right? I don't think you should crown Lyubushkin immediately, but we're pretty close to being done here. Look at it this way. TJ Brodie, top defenseman on the right side, that's easy. Lyubushkin, is he going to be a regular in the lineup? That remains to be seen. My bet is yes. It's not a given, but yes. And who would you rather have in the lineup? Timothy Liljegren or Justin Holl? Well, the Leafs' answer tonight was Liljegren. But wait, Travis Dermott has been in trade rumors too. Dude, Travis Dermott, for all his flaws, and he showed them in this game, can at least play both sides. Probably easier said than done to trade a defenseman who can't crack your top six and makes $2 million this season and next. But Dubas made a couple trades in the last couple days, and I'm getting itchy. Didn't help that on the broadcast tonight, Elliot Friedman and Justin Bourne were asked who was going to be the most active Canadian team ahead of the trade deadline, and they both said the Leafs. Since Muzzin is probably going on LTIR, Elliot Friedman decided to just hot potato the name JT Miller out there, and I don't know how I'm going to get to bed tonight. But here's what we got. Second half of a back-to-back, the Leafs just got embarrassed by the Montreal Canadiens the night before. In net, the matchup is Jack Campbell, who is the Leafs starter and in a contract year, against Jean-Francois Berube, who just played his first NHL game in over 1,000 days. He did really well, but it bears repeating that he played really well in his first NHL game in over 1,000 days! One of the guys on the Columbus Blue Jackets defense tonight was Gavin Bayreuther. You know that name? You should. Gavin Bayreuther is the defenseman who the Seattle Kraken took from the Columbus Blue Jackets in the expansion draft. And if you're wondering, hey, why is he on the Blue Jackets still then? Because Seattle just gave him back! Listen, if your options are Max Domi or nothing, you gotta take nothing. What I'm saying is, no, you're not gonna win every game, but you probably should have won this one. First period is the only period where the Leafs were outshot. Well, that one in overtime. But it would be the Leafs being the first team to get on the board, and oh my goodness, Mitch! Blue Jackets trying to leave their own zone. Mitch Marner goes, how about I yoink? Takes it, gives it to Matthews. Marner gets it back, and he's working in the slot, and while he's falling, he hooks one in front perfectly. Michael Bunting didn't even have to do anything. The puck just glides and it kisses his stick and into the net. Michael Bunting with his 17th of the season, passing Patrik Laine's goal total. And we would laugh and laugh and laugh about that for the rest of the night, surely. Other Leaf highlight from that period, Ilya Lyubushkin drawing a penalty. That's God, I feel nerdy just saying that, but it is good news. And at the beginning of the second period is when Patrik Laine said, hey, heard your little joke. Because the Columbus Blue Jackets were outshot 17-5 in the second period by the Toronto Maple Leafs. That is about as good a period as you are going to get. But none of those 17 shots the Leafs put on were like Patrik Laine's. First of all, it was a 2-on-1 situation, and Laine is looking past the whole time, which, hilarious. I would have loved if Jack Campbell was mic'd up for that. I know you're lying! But he would never raise his voice. And this was the first goal that Ilya Lyubushkin was on the ice for as a member of the Toronto Maple Leafs, and hey, you want to see something funny? I imagine the Russian Bear joined the Toronto Maple Leafs and said, so who's going to be my defense partner? And they said, oh yeah, we don't really do that here. Just all alone. Cutting off the pass to Boone Jenner at very least, but Laine was always going to shoot that, and I would I would blame it on Campbell, but it's also Patrick Laine. So the Leafs greatly outplaying the Blue Jackets. Guess what? Didn't matter. It's tied. But later in the period, Austin Matthews starts it and finishes it. He digs it out in a battle along the benches and just flings it across the ice haphazardly to Michael Bunting. Bunting hits David Kampf, and Kampf carries the puck. There's a weird line change sort of thing going on. He hits a wide open, streaking Austin Matthews. Man, he's gained a step this year. And as great a story as JF Berube has been, forehand, backhand, Shadow Realm, Austin Matthews gives the Leafs back the lead. So okay, second intermission now. How are we feeling? Leafs are outplaying the Blue Jackets. They're outscoring the Blue Jackets, winning the game. You don't hate the one goal that Jack Campbell is allowed. But with 11 seconds to go in the second, Riley takes a penalty, and that's not the greatest way to end. But they're still winning. And while they're on the power play, the Columbus Blue Jackets flying in with Adam Boqvist. Adam Boqvist looking for anyone. He's gonna. Oh! How could a goal be so beautiful and so ugly at the same time? Like, yes, he went end to end, but then he just kind of shot it. I'd like to highlight two things from this goal. I don't want to be mean because Travis Dermott is a very nice boy, but this is literally an impression of the mannequins they use at practice. The main difference being the mannequins have their sticks out in front of them. And number two, Jack Campbell's reaction after the goal, or maybe he's just looking down at the puck like, hey, what if I did save it? You didn't. From Sportsnet's Luke Fox, Sheldon Keefe says Adam Boqvist's power play goal early in the third is the one he wanted a stop from Campbell. Sees Morgan Riley's hooking penalty with 11 seconds left in the second period as costly. Yeah, pretty much. And now it's tied after a really, really, really good second period. Flushed down the toilet. Then not long after, there was a third goal. It was listed as unassisted, but that's not really true. It was assisted by Ilya Lyubushkin, who I don't feel like picking on, but oof! So here's the thing. The Leafs are working the puck around, and they're in the Blue Jackets zone, and the puck skips over his stick. This is an image of the moment he realizes he messed up, and it is essentially the Mr. Krabs panic meme. Brendan Gaunce beats him. Brendan Gaunce beats Jack Campbell. Brendan Gaunce scores. Guess what? It's the Blue Jackets lead. The shots were 32-30 for the Toronto Maple Leafs when this little incident happened. Now, which team is more likely to be winning that game? Which team would you rather be? The Toronto Maple Leafs are a good team. What will make them a great team is an attention to detail. I used this comparison before. Remember the booger cake? Imagine a beautiful, immaculate, four-tiered cake. A cake made with love. It's moist, it's sweet, it's rich but not too rich. The fondant is decorated beautifully, and there's a single booger on top, like a birthday candle. Except it's not a birthday candle, it's a booger! Now, at the end of the day, it's 99.9% delicious cake. And that's true. That's mathematically true. But there is the matter of the booger. This game was a bit of a booger cake. Oh, I'm sure most of it's delicious. But I can't. I'm not going to pick it off. Of course I could, but I'm not going to. By the way, I recently got a tweet from a LFR viewer from England who's like, hey man, I like to watch your videos while I'm having breakfast, so can you not? You know what? You don't like my booger analogies. I don't like that the Queen's still on her money. I don't actually care about that. I just wanted to stick up for myself. But I feel I've driven the analogy home enough. We don't need any more. Now, we all know how the game ended. Jason Spezza says the Leafs are letting everybody down, so I'm going to save them against the Columbus Blue Jackets myself. For the second time in his career. He kicks the puck in, but technically he just redirected it. But we all know what a kick is, right, boys and girls? Here it is. This is going to help you look at it differently. A kick in the rest of reality is not the same as a kick in hockey. There are kicks, and then there's redirections. This could even be a kick from Jason Spezza, but it's not a distinct kicking motion. Any Blue Jackets fans upset about that, I totally get it. I will say, though, it's consistent with the way the rule has been called this season, so I don't feel bad. And you shouldn't feel bad, because you won on the first shot in overtime. Patrick Laine, after Jake Voracek just flying in, low-key, trade kind of did pretty well for the Blue Jackets. And Laine, who at the beginning of the night was passed by Michael Bunting in goals this season, has his 18th and takes that lead right back and gets the win. They outshot them. They did fight hard and get the point, and still, What's that in the middle of the cake? Questions. Oh boy, these aren't really questions. It's just relevant information. Kyle Cushman, Jack Campbell down to an .892 save percentage. Oof, Maroon. In 2022, in 14 games, he's an 8-3-2, which is hilarious. 364 saves and 44 goals against. Perhaps even more bleak from Jonas Siegel, Leafs rank 31st in 5-on-5 save percentage since December 1st. Who's last? So Julian McKenzie with a question that I think latches onto a bunch of different things. Who do you want the Leafs to trade for, Steve? Okay. So I recently threw it out there on the podcast. Not necessarily as something that I want them to do. I don't want them to do this. No. But if you're Kyle Dubas, are you pondering if this goaltending is it? And if you decide it is not, in fact, it, do you go into the playoffs with goaltending that you think is not it? What? Steve, are you talking about acquiring someone to play in front of Jack Campbell? No, not necessarily, no. Listen, I am not suggesting the Leafs trade Jack Campbell. I'm not doing it. But Kyle Dubas is all in on this season. This is a contract year. They're getting ready to sign this guy. If you're a smart man, which I believe Kyle Dubas is, you're going to want to have an answer on Jack Campbell's contract before May 21st. What? Well, definitely before before March 21st, because that's the trade deadline. Words are hard. Listen, Jack has had ridiculous hot streaks. This is a ridiculous cold streak. The truth is, hopefully, somewhere in the middle, maybe closer to hot. This isn't a wish list from me. This isn't anything I've heard, but I do gotta wonder what Kyle's thinking right now. In terms of who do I want to see the Leafs trade for, it's becoming more and more apparent that that second line left wing spot, again, they might want someone for it, and JT Miller could potentially slot in there. I don't even want to start to think about the price. But to me, most important is you have to get a right-handed, ideally, or right-playing defenseman for the second pair. Lyubushkin's not that. He was on the second pair tonight, but he's not that. By the way, the reason I think they played Lyubushkin on the second pair tonight is they put him with Sandin, and I think they will eventually be a pairing on the third pair. I don't think the Leafs can afford to do a pure rental anymore. The pick for Brian Boyle, the pick for Thomas Plekanec, and Jake Muzzin doesn't count because he had term left and they kept him. And who else did it? Oh my goodness, Foligno and Hutton and they spent too many assets on guys who are gone. And then guys like JVR and Zach Hyman, and they didn't get any assets for those guys who are now gone. They got to get a little more creative here. The only player I can think of who would be a pure rental, who I'm like, yeah, I'll take some of that, Mark Giordano. There's that Sioux connection with Ron Francis and Kyle Dubas, and I'm not saying anything specific or even related to Giordano, but they're two outside of the box front offices. I could see them making some sort of outside of the box deal. When are you going to stream Red Dead 2? Soon! This month is a nightmare, man. There's so many games. As punishment to myself, I have not played Red Dead for weeks now because I beat it. And if you guys can't watch me play it, then I can't play it at all soon. Noted Mayor of Edmonton, Adam Wild. Are you in? Well, Adam, that depends. What is in? Is in, are you a Leafs fan? Are you going to follow their journey? Are you going to cheer them on all the way? If that's the case, then yeah, I'm in. But if being in is believing in this team as it's constructed, one foot in, I'd say. Dude, they're good. They're really good. But if the playoffs started today, they'd be playing the Tampa Bay Lightning, and that's just, what's wrong with you? What have I done? What have we all done to you? For the next month, I hope Dubas is on both phones. Yes, it's a baby monitor, okay? I work nights, so that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. Ask all your friends. Are you in?